Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you're doing really well. Today I'm here to talk about the Premier League game week 4 that has just taken place this weekend and some amazing fixtures. So let's get straight into it. If you enjoy this video, please like and subscribe and let me know your thoughts of the Premier League that happened this weekend in the comments below. We got to start at Anfield because Liverpool scored a record equalling 9 goals at home against Bournemouth. We'll start with the positives first with Liverpool. I mean, what a response from the Man United game where they so disappointingly lost 2-1 in that derby to come back at Anfield and then score 5 goals at half-time. I think 2 goals in 10-15 minutes. Phenomenal. And then to kick on in the second half and get a further 4 goals. Really impressive from their point of view. And people talk about their cycle ending and the fact that Klopp was at 7 years at Dortmund. He's now been at Liverpool for 7 years, but I think it's still way too early to say that his cycle and this Liverpool regime and cycle has ended. Liverpool are still a phenomenal force and have so many quality attacking players. And Núñez is going to come back from suspension soon. So Liverpool, they've got a lot of things to look forward to. And also, for anyone like me who captained Salah on FPL, just a massive L. The fact that Liverpool scored 9 goals, Salah didn't even get a goal contribution. From Bournemouth's point of view, though, I've said previously, these sorts of games, Liverpool away and Man City away, won't define Bournemouth in the Premier League. And I guess from their point of view, they've got Man City and Liverpool away, out of the way in this season. But it's just the manner of which they lose. They've just conceded so many goals. And to just respond in the second half so badly is really damning and very, very concerning. But even some of the defending was so poor. I mean, Trent's goal was a fantastic strike, but he was given so much time to shoot. It was just absolutely ridiculous. And Parker said after the match, in response to, is this the lowest point in Bournemouth's season? He said, I can see some more, to be honest with you. So that's really damning. And he's kind of said similar quotes already this season about how we're not good enough, we need some help, we're going to have more low moments. And look, Bournemouth squad is a championship squad, but there's still some quality there and they can put up more of a fight. But, you know, against Man City, Arsenal and Liverpool, they completely folded and it's a real concern for Bournemouth. They definitely have to sign more players. Otherwise, they will be the whipping boys of the season. Man City came from behind to beat Palace 4-2 in a really impressive win because last season, of course, Palace beat Man City at the Etihad and Palace were 2-0 up at half-time. Fortuitously, yes, but still, Joachim Andersen's header was stunning. Fantastic goal from the corner. And, 2-0 up at half-time against any team is difficult. So for Man City to respond to win 4-2 is amazing. Bernardo Silva, the catalyst for so many wins for Man City over the last 3-4 seasons, again gets the first goal to get the ball rolling, and then Haaland, I mean, brilliant from him. People talk about his pace and his strength and his height, but his movement and his ability to be in the right place at the right time isn't down to luck. His positioning and awareness is phenomenal. He's such a brilliant player. But then you talk about the power and the height and the speed that was there for Haaland's third. Fantastic goal from him, and wow, Man City just look really strong now they have Haaland up front. Then we have Saints 1, Man United 0. A good performance from Saints, actually. They played really well. I think new signings Joe Rebo and Maro look really impressive, especially Joe Rebo. I think he's the pick of Saints' new signings. And another new signing, Bazunu, looked pretty decent in goal, made a number of good saves. But in the end, Man United forced in the goal. A really nice finish from Fernandes. And he was captain against Liverpool and really seemed to thrive as the captain. And that was evident again against Southampton. He performed particularly well and was probably Man United's player of the match. So that's really promising for Man United, the fact they backed up the really impressive win at home against Liverpool with this good away win at Saints. Then we have Chelsea 2, Leicester 1. Despite being down to 10 men for over an hour of football, Chelsea managed to get the win, a Sterling double. First goal, okay, it was deflected fine, but the second goal, it's a real typical Sterling goal, just at the right place at the right time, brilliant movement into the box. We've seen him score so many of those types of goals at Man City, and he does the same on Saturday in this match against Leicester. So really impressive from him and Chelsea. For Leicester, not great from their point of view. I mean, yes, Chelsea are a good team and Leicester were away from home, but the fact they were up against a man less than them and they couldn't really create that many chances is a concern. I mean, Harvey Barnes' goal was very nice, but like I said, I think Leicester will be a little bit disappointed. I say that though, I don't know why Harvey Barnes' goal in the first half was disallowed. I don't think it was a shove on Mendy. I don't think there was enough in there to warrant a foul on Mendy personally. But even so, relatively poor from Leicester. And, they got some tough fixtures coming up. They play Brighton away, Man United at home, Man United off the back of back-to-back wins. Brighton away, that's not going to be easy. And then they play Villa. So that Leicester-Villa game might be the game where the winner doesn't get sacked in terms of the managers. So, I'll be very interested to see how Leicester react against Man United. It was a good performance from Brentford, but they couldn't get the win. They drew 1-1 at home against Everton. For Everton, there's a lot of distractions for them off the pitch. Managerial discussions with Frank Lampard, whether Anthony Gordon's going to leave. I mean, if he is going to leave, he scored a really beautiful last goal. Great play from him to bring the ball down and then fire it past David Raya. So for Everton, a decent performance enough. But for Brentford, I mean, they created an XG of 2.59. They hit the word work 3 times, and Pickford made some good saves. So really, I think Brentford did deserve to win this game. So they'll be disappointed they didn't win. And Everton will probably be disappointed that, coming against Brentford away from home, they probably would have expected to win perhaps. So maybe both teams disappointed in the end. But from Everton's point of view, I do have to shout on Nana in midfield. First start for him, I believe, and he looked really good. So that's really promising for Everton. And it's also promising that they've got Maupay now as their backup striker. It's not just going to be mid-30s Rondon, who's way past his prime. It's good they've got that backup in Maupay when or if Dominic Calvert-Lewin is out injured. Brighton at home, and Brighton continue to create the better chances and dominate the team, but this time they got the win, unlike the game where they drew 0-0 at home to Newcastle. Now, Brighton didn't create as many chances in the Newcastle game as they did at home against Leeds, but they still created some good chances. Webster should have scored. Estepinha looked really good playing on the left-hand side in his first game for Brighton. And like I said, Brighton were the better team. So, I guess from their point of view, they didn't create as many chances against Newcastle, but at least the fans will feel they got the win. So that's the main thing for them. From Leeds' point of view, they weren't terrible or bad, don't get me wrong, but it just took them a really long time to get going in this game, and it was always going to be so hard for Leeds to match the heights that they did when they played Chelsea at home on Sunday. But still, they probably just took too long to get going in this game. Arsenal continue their perfect start after beating Fulham at home by 2-1, but they had to come from behind to win after, in the second half, poor play from the back, passing out from the back from Arsenal. Mitrovic nicks the ball and then slots it past the goalkeeper to make it 1-0. But then Arsenal continue to pile on the pressure. They continue to make some really good chances. And in the end, they forced the equaliser. Really good play from Odegaard and Saka on the right-hand side. And then Saka plays it into Odegaard. And okay, it was a deflected finish, but the build-up to the goal was really nice. And I think from there was always only going to be one team that were going to push on for the winner. And Arsenal forced it in eventually through Gabriel. He made up for his error in early in the second half by scoring to make it 2-1. And to be fair, since Gabriel has signed, Arsenal just look way more threatening at set pieces. So that's a real positive from Arsenal. And the fact that Zinchenko and Partey were both out injured, and new signing Fabio Vieira hasn't even played yet, shows that, Arsenal can still perform well, even despite with absentees. And I think last season they had such a thin squad that anyone getting injured and Arsenal would really struggle. But this time around, this season, Arsenal's squad is bigger and they can afford to have the likes of Zinchenko and Partey and Vieira not play, and they can still create loads of chances and dominate teams. And look, Fulham, yes, they're newly promoted, and yes, they'll probably finish in the bottom half, but they don't look like a whipping boy like Bournemouth. They look like a relatively organised team, and they did create some chances, but Arsenal, obviously aside from conceding that error early in the second half, they were strong and, a lot of people are saying Arsenal guaranteed top 4 spot. I'm not sure about that just yet. It's still really early, but maybe Arsenal could potentially finish higher than 4th. Who knows? But a really good start for Arteta and Arsenal. So for Sunday's games, we have Aston Villa 0, West Ham 1. I'll start with the positives, and from West Ham's point of view, just a really important win. Going into the game, both Gerrard and Moyes were under a lot of pressure. Maybe Moyes even more so, because West Ham hadn't scored or got a single point. So the fact they managed to score through 4 nows and get the win and clean sheet, really positive from West Ham's point of view, especially now that their European campaign is going to properly start. it's going to be harder for them to balance Thursdays and Sundays. So the fact they got this win before their European campaign is really promising for West Ham. I think the substitutions just really helped West Ham win the game. I think Antonio came on at half-time and Ben Rama came at half-time, then Antonio came on, and that really changed the game. And when West Ham scored, they just defended well and in the end deserved to win. However, from Villa's point of view and Steven Gerrard, he is under a lot of pressure now. It's not just because of the start to this season, it's the manner of which they fell away in the previous season. And we've actually seen that a number of times in different examples in football. I mean, you look at Stoke, for example. Michael O'Neill ended last season really badly. And because he started this season really badly, the Stoke fans were already kind of on edge. And once Michael O'Neill couldn't get the wins, he was always going to struggle to stay in his job. And it's kind of looking like that's now potentially the case with Gerrard, because they ended last season quite badly and it's not been a good start to the season. And it's not like Aston Villa haven't spent a lot of money. And okay, yes, Diego Carlos, their big money signing, the defender from Sevilla, he's now out injured, but they've still got Camara, Coutinho and Bailey. Well, he'll feel like a new signing because he's now going to get regular game time. So, I mean, it's not looking great for Aston Villa. And their next two games are Arsenal away, Man City at home, and then they play Leicester away. So like I said earlier, that Leicester Villa game might be winner keeps their job, which sounds really brutal and harsh, but I mean, with the way football is, as it's the business of football, it might just turn out that way. So for Gerrard, he's under a lot of pressure. Wolves won, Newcastle won, and this will definitely feel like 2 points dropped for Wolves. Newcastle, I would say, were the better team, and they created an XG of over 2, while Wolves only created an XG of 1. So Newcastle definitely created the better quality chances and had more possession and had more shots. But for Wolves, they nicked themselves in front just before half-time, and going into the 90th minute, you'd expect them at home to just see out and win. So the fact that they conceded to make it 1-1 and then actually almost lost the game was pretty worrying from Wolves' point of view. So not great for Wolves. They'll be a little bit disappointed. They still haven't won since April, and as long as that stat maintains, that's going to really bug Bruno Lage and the Wolves fans. So it's not great from Wolves' point of view. They do play Bournemouth away next, and I would say that's an easy or relatively easy game, but it's the fact that Bournemouth are off the back of losing 9-0, which is a bit of a concern, because you'd expect Bournemouth to really react after that hammering. So from Wolves' point of view, it's actually not ideal timing to play Bournemouth. So not great from them. But for Newcastle, look, okay, they almost lost the game, but they still created a good amount of chances. They have Wilson and Bruno out injured. Isak wasn't registered in time, so he didn't play. And they could have nicked it at the end through Elliot Anderson from Whitley Bay, from Newcastle. That would have been a brilliant story. But alas, it wasn't meant to be. But for Newcastle, I mean, the future is still very, very bright for them. And finally, Forest 0, Spurs 2. And yes, Spurs scored within 5 minutes. And at that point, a lot of people, including myself, might have been thinking this could be a hammering. Spurs could really steamroll Forest. But to Forest's credit, they looked like a really well-coached team. Their patterns of play and their build-up play was really good. I think Morgan Gibbs-White is a good signing because he instantly improves this Forest team. And people say, £45 million, that's too much. But it's £25 million, including add-ons. And Morgan Gibbs-White is English, very young, and Steve Cooper has managed him before at Swansea. And it just seems to be a really good fit. So I actually think that's a really good signing. But in terms of Forest signings, I still maintain that Dean Henderson will be their best signing. He's now saved 2 penalties in his Forest career. Brilliant from him. He's just such a charismatic goalkeeper. He's got that arrogance that a goalkeeper needs, and he's just slightly crazy, but he backs it up with big performances. And, in my opinion, if he keeps this up, why shouldn't he be England's number 1? I mean, Pickford, yes, he's better for his country than Everton, but Dean Henderson, he's putting in performances that Gareth Southgate surely can't ignore, especially if he consistently plays like this until November. So fair play to Dean Henderson, he performed really well. And, Forest, they can hold their heads up high. Yes, you'd say Spurs deserved the win because they were clinical and they took their chances, but Forest's build-up play was really good. And it shows that they won't be any mugs in the Premier League this season, especially at home. That's the key thing with Forest. They need to keep the momentum up and the crowd going at the City ground, and I'm sure they'll pick up points at home. But that's my review of the Premier League. I hope you really enjoyed it. It was a fantastic, entertaining game week in the Premier League. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and let me know what you think about the Premier League that happened this weekend in the comments below. And I hope to see you all in the next video. Thank you very much.